Hello, and welcome to a glorious day here at the Nomi Nations, host of your 4th Annual Impys Awards show. Mount Denkins is bubbling away down there. While reports from Freeze Atoll say, brr, it's chilly, please be on the lookout for falling icicles. Now let's head down to Issavibe for an eye-opening chat with Jen Simpkins and some talented Dreams creators. And now welcome to the stage your host Jen Simpkins for the highly anticipated Impsider Live Creator Talks with Willow the Bob, Team Pig Detective, and first up, it's Elka.
Hi Elka, thank you for joining us at the Impys. Super excited to have you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And I've just introduced you, but now I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself again. So, whoops, didn't think of that. But how about you introduce yourself?
So yeah, I'm Elka, or Elka Gaming. I'm 25 years old, I live in Germany currently, and I've been using Dreams since it was available, basically. And yeah, I have a couple of projects going on. Some are bigger than others, and one you might probably know if you know me. But yeah, it's been a fun time in Dreams so far, and I can't wait for your questions.
Amazing. Yeah, well let's wind it all the way back to the beginning then, because you've been with us a long time, as you've kind of pointed out. So why don't you tell everyone kind of how you first came across Dreams and how you discovered it, and what maybe your first impressions of Dreams were?
Yeah, so when the first more or less closed version of Dreams was available, I dabbled a little bit inside it and didn't really like the controls, and I kind of stopped, and I was so bummed out because I was so excited for Dreams for so many years since the announcement, and I was following the project, actually did some videos before release on it too, and I think the main reason back then was I didn't really know what to do, and the controls were like the cherry on top to not continue, but then the early access version, close to the release, came out. And then I rewatched at the time, I rewatched Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I tried some stuff out to get something done, because at that time no real Avatar game was available that I felt like represented the show. So yeah, I got to work, and the rest is history, basically. Yeah.
Totally, yeah. And we should definitely talk about Four Seasons. Super, super ambitious project. A ton of it is playable in Dreams right now, and it really garnered you a lot of attention. It's a really, really great passion project. I mean, you stream the development for it live on Twitch, which I find fascinating. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about what's it like streaming that development process in front of so many eyes.
Yeah, I've actually, before I begin answering this question, I feel like more people should do this because it's so helpful in so many ways. First of all, it shows the people that will actually play the game, or some people, how much work goes into something like that. And if you create with chat together, they can give you input and point out things that you might not recognize while creating. I actually have a funny story. When I was making food for a restaurant in my game, I put chopstick in the rice up straight down, and I was like, Chef was like, no, don't do that. And I was dodged the bullet there. But yeah, it's always super fun to work with chat together to discover ideas and try different things out, and have the best possible version, and maybe do things you didn't come up with on your own, or didn't even try to think about like some game mechanics or
Yeah, to have the perspectives of people from all different cultures and parts of the world, all different ages, that must be great. Like that example you gave is so interesting. It's just like, how would you know, right? And then you have someone who just knows, that's a no-no.
Yeah.
That's great. So, like, I mean, it's interesting though, because I mean, there's clearly so many advantages, but you must be really passionate about that. Because I feel like a lot of people who would develop video games or make art would kind of just want their own perspective. Like, how do you kind of maintain the vision you have for Four Seasons as kind of like the director of it, I suppose, while sort of having other people kind of contribute and play a part in it?
Yeah, so the main vision for the game was always I wanted to be as close as possible, at least visually, to the original show. So we have like the best reference we can get, basically. So most of it is like recreating, but it's also a lot of improvising because like there are only a couple of frames in the animated series. So we have to come up with a lot of stuff on our own. And like, I think the most difficult part is to find collaborators that match the style, one of you, of me,
Right.
and of the show too, because it has like a very distinct style. Like this, especially the first series was super simplistic most of the time, and it is very intricate in the architecture of things, and you have to try to match that as close as possible, because I want the player to feel like they are playing the series basically in 3D, which is like so cool to me, because this is also what keeps me going. Seeing like all the environments that you know from the series as in 3D, and you can walk through it and explore it from different angles, maybe see things you didn't saw before. Yeah, that's super fun.
Yeah, you've really gone in detail, like especially with the environments. And yeah, this point you bring up about being able to almost see parts of the world that you might not see in the series. Like, do you have any specific examples of sort of little touches that you've had to sort of put your own creative spin on and make them feel like they're a real part of the world?
Yes, I think the biggest example of that is in the, I think, first or second episode. Aang and Katara go like penguin sledding, and briefly they tease like a cave scene for like 2 frames, and we made an entire level out of that scene.
Whoa.
And yeah, that was super fun. And especially all the villages and cities, there are only like a couple of frames always of the different angles, because I guess you can't be bothered to draw everything. But yeah, we basically imagine how it would pan out for the entire village, have like, as I said, restaurants or like different shops set up, which I hope I can implement into gameplay too, so you can buy like different things and food, because I always struggled with food in the series. But yeah, that would be nice. And yeah, we come up with a bunch of stuff because we have good reference, but it's like from a different perspective always. Like you have to imagine how it would look behind the big castle, maybe. But yeah, it's fun to imagine our own things in that regard.
Yeah, totally. Like the ambition of Four Seasons as well. Like it's a real big game, and you know, with all of these different elements and you know things that you're recreating and then things that you're adding to. Like it's a huge thing. I suppose someone outside of Dreams might look at this and go, "Oh my gosh! Like how is this kind of possible with you and a small team of collaborators? Like how would you almost explain how you're able to do this in game? Like how does Dreams make it possible for someone like you?"
Yeah, I was actually presenting the game at like a mini Gamescom, I would say, and people could play the game themselves, and I could like guide them through certain parts that weren't finished yet. But it was super fun to see people actually explore and ask questions about it, and ask questions about Dreams too, like how it works. And I went into the editor of Dreams and showed them around how like you sculpt stuff, how you paint stuff, and how it all works with voxels instead of polygons and texture maps and everything. And it was like super intriguing for the most people. Yeah.
Why do you think that was? Was it because, like, do you think it comes off as once you explain it, people are like, oh, actually, that sounds quite simple. Was that any part of it, or were they still mind blown?
Yeah, the most common answer I got was like, why is it so simple? Like, why do I struggle in other software if it does work like that? But yeah, I think people still underestimate how creative you can get in Dreams. Unfortunately, the monetization aspect of it doesn't really match up to the other softwares. But I feel like Dreams is more of a creative outlet than anything else. But yeah, it's always fun to see people who maybe never heard of Dreams see how easy it can be to like scope stuff in a couple of minutes. Like you see Martin Nebelong sculpting stuff in a couple of minutes, and it looks amazing. But yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. And like, I mean, 4 seasons, right? It's a huge project, like your main focus. But you also do a lot of other stuff in Dreams. Like, you're a real all-rounder. You've made rhythm games, you've made tech demos, and you're making a whole open world. We should talk a little bit about Project Pigeon, right? Because
yes.
that's kind of one of your shorter side projects that you've been working on with a few other Dreams superstars, I would say, in the creative sphere. And it's a very special game. We'll show the people some of it now. But
Don't spoil the ending.
We won't spoil the ending, I swear. But I got to ask you a little bit about kind of how that came about, because making a game where you play as a pigeon is unique. How did that come about? How did that collaboration work?
It's certainly a Dreams thing.
Yeah.
So every once in a while we hang out in a Discord channel with like some Dreams people. And one day, like late at night for me, it's like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I was in the Discord channel with 800 Pixel Gorilla and Piece of Craft. And we like threw videos around of dumb stuff. And Piece of Craft showed us this video of this pigeon. I don't want to spoil anything, but basically that was the inspiration for the actual game. And we were like, we have to do this. This is like, the concept is so simple and it's so easy to make something like that in Dreams. And while they were discussing like how you could do it and everything, I was in the background starting up my PlayStation and prototyping something. I was like, guys, I have something. And I showed them, I was, yes, this is it. And basically we made the prototype for the rest of the day. And the rest of the week was basically polishing up, doing like a different pigeon. Piece of Craft sculpted the pigeon. We used a pigeon from the Dreamverse as like the prototype version. It looks so funny packing around. But yeah, then Pixel Gorilla made all of the art, UI stuff, and the environments. I did basically the gameplay logic for the game, and it came together so well, and it all fit together. It was such a fun project, and I think you can also feel it in the final product. And of course, the cherry on top for this was actually Magma. Like, who can we get to make a voice over this? Which person would be the funniest to listen to doing these voiceovers? It has to be Magma.
Magma Monster has the best VO. I will never get pigeon fact out of my head.
Yeah.
It's so good.
What's actually, all of these facts are also true. They're like a little bit altered to be funny, but in the core they are all true, which people don't believe. But yeah.
Some of them are pretty wild, I would say. That sounds like such a fun group to work with. Like, I mean, all of you are like super talented and really well known in the Dreamverse for making highly polished stuff. Wild that it took like a week as well, seeing as though how polished it is, even though it's brief. Like, what was it like to work with that particular group of people? I feel like that would be a fun time.
It was super fun. Like, if you work with people like this, you inspire each other all the time. Like, we all streamed our progress while we were working on it. So Pixel did the UI while I worked on the gameplay stuff, while Piece of Craft sculpted the pigeon. I was like, what if we do this? What if we do that? What if we implement this that way? And I think a good example, while Pixel was making the screen for the facts, there's like an ornament going around the screen.
I love it.
And Piece of Craft drew something in his stream, and I was like, yes, it needs to be a pigeon. And I did it with the paint, and it looks so good. It fits so good.
The minute I spotted that hidden pigeon in there, I was like, oh, mwah, that is like the level of detail I would expect from these Dreams heavy hitters. It's so great that was such a collaborative experience. And I mean, the Dreams community as a whole is pretty like open and giving, I would say. It was kind of like a nice little version of that in microcosm. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what it's like to be part of the Dreams community. Like, how would you kind of describe that to people who don't know what the Dreams community is like?
It feels a little bit like you go into school, to art class, and everyone is talented. and basically, I don't know if you had a teacher like that, but everything you do is awesome. And you inspire each other, help each other, give a hand to each other, and like, I think the biggest upside of the Dreams community is like literally everyone. If you ask someone, you get an answer how to do some stuff, or how to optimize things, or how you would scope something, or what logic system you should use for that, or how you can do it differently. And the collaboration aspect, even if you don't collaborate like on a project, is like so huge in Dreams. Like, you can see it in the if you open up the collaboration page on any Dream, you see how many people are involved in like the tiniest aspect of it. And it's like you have like a huge game studio, but everyone lives everywhere. So it's so nice to have like people helping each other out.
Totally. And there are so many talents in the Dreamiverse. I bet there's a ton of people out there, though, who are like, oh, I'm not talented, so maybe I shouldn't come like play in Dreams, because I'm just never going to be as talented as like Elka or whatever. Like, what would you kind of say to people who are like, I'm not sure I have any talent. Should I play Dreams?
I didn't have any talent, certainly. If you see my first stuff, I can send you some screenshots to show on screen. It's not good. It's like, what is this? Yeah, just keep on like creating. It's all practice. Like, practice makes perfect. It's still true. And the only like prior knowledge I had was like 2D design and marketing, basically. But you learn so much in Dreams, and even if you just play a few tutorials and then veer off into your own direction, you find your own style. And if you keep creating, it keeps getting better. It's basically like that. You have to put in the hours.
That's fair. But have fun with it, right?
Yes, of course. Only do stuff you're fun with. Like, and we wouldn't have done Project Vision if it wasn't so fun. So.
That was so fun. Yeah, well, so great to catch up with you a little bit and talk about some of your projects. Obviously, you've got loads going on. 4 seasons work is still ongoing, and hopefully we'll get a ton more exciting little surprises like Project Pigeon in the future, and you keep having fun, because I had fun with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, thanks for coming on the show. And happy Impys. I think we're going to get to the rest of the show now. So I'll speak to you later, Elka.
Exciting.
Bye.
Later.
Okay, so excited to have you on the show to talk to you a little bit about your art and animation work in Dreams. I'm a huge fan of your work, and it is really popular in the Dreamiverse for obvious reasons. We'll be showing some beautiful examples of your art on screen now. But how about you introduce yourself to people watching? So who are you, and where in the world do you come from?
I'm Willow the Bob, and I'm from America.
Amazing. And what do you like to do in Dreams? Like, what's kind of your style as an artist in Dreams? What do you spend most of your time doing?
Anymore, I spend most of my time just animating. I really like making rigs and helping other people with little issues that they have with stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, your animation work and your character rigs, they really are some of the most standout work in the entire Dreamiverse. And it's such a cool and specific craft, I feel like. You're so talented at it. I was really curious about how you first became interested in making art and animating things in general, maybe not necessarily in dreams. When did you first sort of start getting interest in that kind of craft?
Well, I've always been into art ever since I was little. Before any animating, I was in the fine art and I did a lot of commission work. But I don't really do that anymore. But yeah, I've always kind of been into it ever since I was a kid.
What is it about it for you? Is it something about the physicality of it? Is it something it does to your mind when you create art? Like what about the process of making art in general do you find appealing?
I think it's just seeing something that you created, and I guess it's kind of funny though. I don't really do a whole lot of digital drawing. I like to draw on paper and I like painting. But I don't know, it's just really satisfying just creating something that you can just feel proud of.
Yeah, and that's so interesting because obviously dreams is a digital medium, and you're perhaps you're a traditional artist at heart. So how did you first kind of discover dreams? How did you come across this digital art making thing?
Well, it's kind of funny. I've actually found dreams from I was on YouTube and I saw there was some popular streamer, and he was just playing some of the memes that were in dreams. I think it was right after it came out, and I just thought it was so funny, but I hadn't realized that he was showing things that other just regular people have made, and that I just thought that was so cool. So I immediately bought it because regular people made that stuff, and I thought it was so funny. Like, he was goofy, but it was just, I was so shocked to see that it was just like an actual game where you can make things. So I was instantly sold.
Yeah, I feel like dream stuff and meme stuff and that kind of stuff made by anyone has this real like raw energy. It's just like really interesting and attractive. So your first impressions of dreams are like, this is kind of like a goofy meme generator. Is that fair?
No, I wouldn't say that. Well, I knew people were capable of making it that because that's what I guess there was a lot of that at the very beginning, but seeing the tools that were available, I knew that there could be some really cool things made. But yeah, it was mostly memes at first, but it was only a matter of time before a bunch of cool stuff started coming out.
Yeah, then when you start scratching beneath that goofy surface, you're like, whoa, there's a whole serious load of stuff under here.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, your stuff really, I would say, just falls on it's really funny. You've got loads of great kind of comic short animations that you've made, but I mean really presented in this beautiful, lavish, almost kind of semi-realistic way, even though it's stylized, at least your animated shorts. So I'd say it's some serious craft going on. But yeah, interesting you're talking about your kind of background in traditional art and painting and drawing on paper. So like how far has kind of dreams developed your craft as an artist? It feels like you're going from one thing to something quite different.
Well, I really like dreams because it's so different than everything else that I've been doing. I don't know, it's just
like, what has working in a digital medium in dreams kind of helped you develop that you couldn't with just a pencil and paper?
Well, a lot of the ideas I've never actually done any sculpting in real life or before dreams or animating. So it was kind of cool just it was a lot more accessible than trying to use like a blender or anything like that. And it was a lot less intimidating. So, and then now since I've learned quite a bit in dreams and how to do all that, it just feels a lot more fun and like I can actually do that stuff if I tried.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, you're such a multifaceted artist. You're just drawing paintings, pen and paper, then you're in dreams doing some animation, rigging characters. Your realistic horse is absolutely an incredible piece of work. I can't even imagine how complicated it must be to make something like that, especially with like no real previous experience, it sounds like. Yeah. But I mean, one of the facets to you as an artist is you're a tattoo artist. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered whether there were kind of any like surprising similarities maybe between the art of like animation and the art of tattooing. I was thinking about it. I was like, I suppose kind of motion and the human body is kind of involved in both those art things. Are there any kind of similarities that you think, oh yeah, maybe there's some crossover between these two things I do, or no?
For me personally, not really. But besides, I mean, I guess with any kind of art medium, it still applies that you just got to keep doing it to be able to understand it better. But I think that honestly, for it being so different, is part of the reason why I like it so much. It's very different than all the other things that I do, because drawing and tattooing there's similarities there, but it was just fun to start something completely new and interesting.
Activating completely different parts of your brain, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Flexing different artist muscles. I wonder whether kind of resting some art muscles, like how you're like, oh, I can rest those muscles and work on something totally different for a bit, and then come back.
Sometimes I need to do that, yeah.
Come back and be refreshed a bit. It's like, it's probably quite good.
Definitely.
But yeah, so I mean, as a tattoo artist, I have seen some of your work because I know that another dreamer in the Dreamiverse, Notre Dame, came to you to get a tattoo of the imp that they use in dreams and that they interact with dreams. Like, what was that experience like? What was it like to kind of meet a fellow dreamer and to tattoo them? It's quite an intimate experience almost.
That was so cool. It was really neat meeting him. Whenever he arrived, it was like we already knew what we were going to be talking about, but it was like we were already friends. It was really cool. So hopefully one day I can meet other people that play dreams, but yeah, it was a cool experience. I'm glad I got to meet him in person.
Amazing. And I feel like being a tattoo artist, like someone you're tattooing, they almost have to have quite a lot of trust in you, don't they, that you're going to take care of them. Like, it must have been like a really interesting experience, because you're like, oh, it might be like an internet stranger, but actually maybe dreams is a little bit different because you're all artists, I suppose, so you have that in common.
Yeah, it's just like a similar interest. So it was. Yeah, it wasn't weird or anything.
Yeah, and like, we should talk about the dreams community in general, because I do think there's kind of a level of comfort there among everyone where we're like, oh, we're all kind of on the same page with kind of like how we believe in art and kind of being excellent to each other, as some dudes once said. What's it like to be a part of the dreams community in particular? Like, what's that like for you as a person and as an artist?
It's been pretty cool. I've never actually been a part of any other like art group for anything, so this is like a first for me. But it's been really cool. I've made a lot of friends that I wasn't expecting, and yeah, it's been a really good experience. And I've learned quite a bit about just being able to work with others on other projects and things too.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because I'm always curious about kind of how that collaboration kind of space affects people's work as an artist. And it sounds like, you've really been able to gain some new skills. Like, how far has it kind of affected the way that you create art, at least digitally, being part of this community?
I think the biggest thing for me is learning and understanding that I don't have to do everything myself. And that has been probably one of the biggest and best parts of dreams. I've using other people's assets that they've made, that's the reason they've made them. I know a lot of people feel like they have to make everything themselves, but once you really realize that you don't have to, not only is it much easier, it's a lot more enjoyable to make things too.
That is fantastic. So you've made so much cool stuff in the Dreamiverse. I can list a bunch of things off the top of my head that I absolutely love. I love your Timothy short that you released recently. I love anything to do with Durl. Your horse was so impressive. The character rigging on that was incredible. I wondered whether you had a favourite piece of work that you made, or that was particularly special to you from your time in Dreams.
For me, it's probably the face rig of the latest character that we have. It's probably the thing that I'm most proud of. I don't have, considering all the time that I put into the building that, there's not really a whole lot of animated things published, but I'm thinking of making a sort of, something where people can just kind of check out the character and experiment with like how his face moves around and stuff, because we put a lot of work into that. But that's probably one of my favorite things lately. And then I do like the frog animations I started because it's so stupid. Those have been really fun.
That's so cool. I love the writing. I think it's so spot on, and the voice acting as well. Like even before you get into your animation chops, it's just I feel so immersed in those little mini worlds you create in really kind of short animated shorts. I'm like, I feel like I'm there already.
I'll have to tell the voice actor for that. He actually just makes everything up. I don't give him any lines. He just comes up with stuff on the spot. Yeah, he's so good.
Oh my gosh.
Everything. It's very fun. He does the voice for all the things that I've made so far, actually. So he's the same guy.
That's incredible. But I think probably a testament to these kind of worlds that you're able to build. Like they definitely inspire you and make you think, oh my gosh, like you could see how you might embody a character in that space. So seeing your characters and seeing the kind of the alleyway that Timothy's in and stuff like that. You're like, oh yeah, I get a sense. But wow, what a talent. That's so fun to work with them, I bet.
It is, yeah.
And yeah, I suppose to wrap up, it'd be really cool. So obviously we're celebrating the Impys very soon, and talking to you as part of our community celebrations. And I wondered if you had a message for maybe people who are watching this and maybe don't really know what Dreams is, or they're unsure about getting involved in the community. What would you say to people who are maybe interested in checking out Dreams and what the community is all about?
For people who are just getting Dreams, I think it's important to know that, I know it probably looks pretty overwhelming, especially with a lot of the really crazy advanced things that some other creators are making. But my best advice to people who are just starting would probably be to find the thing that you're really most interested in and just trying to get a foothold in that instead of trying to learn how to do everything, because it is too much to do alone.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's a whole universe in there.
Yes, yeah, there's so much. And then I guess another thing would be Dreams doesn't have to necessarily be just something you use to be able to show off. It can just be more of a personal. I almost look at it as a sort of it's like a digital journal. I have lots of things that I've made that I probably won't ever publish, but it's just for the sake of making things. It's enjoyable. So it doesn't have to be for just publicly showing. It can be just for your own personal satisfaction of creating.
I mean, that is wonderful. And I'm pretty sure that's what everyone at Media Molecule was hoping for with this game, that it would just be like a cool sketchbook that you can just sit down with and doodle around in for a couple of hours. But my goodness, I think if everyone had seen what was going to come of it back then with some of your work, we would have been like, so thanks for doodling, Willow. Great. Oh, well, it's so great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you're coming up with next. My goodness, I'm delighted every time I see something new from you posted in Dreamverse.
Well, that's good to know.
I'm out there. I'm checking it out. But great. All right. Talk to you another time, I'm sure.
It was really nice meeting you.
Yeah, so nice meeting you too. So, hello, Team Pig Detective. Very exciting to talk to you today for this Impys celebration. We've got the main show coming up in the very near future, and I'm super excited to talk to you today a little bit about your journey throughout Dreams and across the Dreamiverse. So how about you kick us off and introduce yourselves and tell us where in the world you come from.
Okay, want to start? Me? Yeah. We are the very core of Team Pick Detective. I'm Lotte. This is Sebastian.
I'm Sebastian.
We're married.
Yeah, true.
For a long time. And we've been making dreams things since the very beginning, and we're still married. So
That's a good track record. You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Game dev ain't easy.
We're both from Germany, but the whole Team Pick Detective is from all around the world. We have Ben in Australia, Andy in the United States, and Reddishboard in the UK. So, but we are in Germany.
That's a lot of time zones.
Yeah, true.
Really international. It's always fun trying to wrangle you all into the same place at the same time.
Yeah, it never happens. Yeah. we don't manage. We have a game night. We play Jackbox. If we get a game night,
yeah, it's fine.
We have a game night and play on. We play together, and we never bring everyone to the table at the same time. It just never happens.
Just so many time zones to juggle, and I mean, we'll talk a little bit about how it is to develop games like that. But yeah, let's tell the people a little bit about what you like to dream. What do you like to do in dreams? What really gets you going making stuff in dreams?
My favorite thing in dreams is making scenes for our games, like the actual environment building and where should the camera be, where should the characters be, where to put the objects, what's the mood of the scene. So that's my favorite. But like I'm the main creator for like actually doing things in dreams of Team Pick Detective, so I'm doing a lot more of than creating scenes, but I'm not as comfortable with it. Like we have Andy is definitely better when it comes to sculpting all kinds of things, especially characters. I can't do music at all. Not at all. So that's Reddishboard's thing. I hate animating, so that's Ben's thing, plus sculpting things in dreams. But I love putting it all together, like getting nice things Andy and Ben have made and putting in music Reddishboard has made, or Lotte is sending out scripts for the voice actors and putting in the voice lines that comes into the scene. And that's my favorite thing I do in dreams now.
And I play. And we call it play testing, so it sounds much more busy and important. But I play, and every day I play a couple of games that people that I like created, and we're still playing them. We still play Mine a Day by Dorian every day. Yeah. And I'm still in the same place because there's people who do that as well.
It's getting competitive on the leaderboards over there.
Oh, it's very competitive.
But you're being modest. You also write as well. You've got some writing chops, right, Lotte?
Yeah, that's true. That's not it's not something that's very specific to dreams, is it? You know.
It's true, but it's a part of the rich tapestry of all of the amazing stuff you make in dreams. I'm super excited to get into a bit more of the Project Pig Detective, which has spanned many years now and is really covered in glory.
Maybe we should talk about writing, because you can write in dreams. All you need is a keyboard, and then you can write so fast.
Yeah, it comes very
makes it a bunch easier. Yeah, but I thought before we kind of get into the Pig Detective stuff, I thought I'd ask you a little bit about your dreams origin story. I'm not sure I've ever heard it. You both really have sort of been around since the earliest days of dreams, right? And I wanted to hear a little bit about maybe how you heard about dreams for the first time.
I think that's my story. Mm-hmm. I've noticed dreams like... But by now the timeline gets a bit fuzzy. It was easier like for a few years ago. But I think the first time when the PlayStation 4 was like introduced on the big screen, E3 or something, there was a little performance by John Beach and Dreams and stuff. And this was the first time I noticed this, and I like followed the game through the whole development phase. And I remember catching all the creation streams, and I was so excited for the game to finally come out. And I was always telling you, I want to make this game about a detective, and the detective is a pig. And I have no idea where this idea was coming from, but I had it quite early on, and I was like imagining how this game would look like, and it was in the end it was nothing like I had imagined, because I wasn't very good at using dreams at the beginning. So I was following Dreams, the Dreams creation, or the Dreams development, and all the streams. And I was always telling you about, like, there's this game coming to PlayStation I really want to use to make something in it. Yeah.
More specifically, we met once a week to play Little Big Planet, and he always said, the people who made Little Big Planet, they're going to make this other game, and it's called Dreams. And I'm going to make a game about a pig who's a detective.
That is wild to hear that the idea for... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and then there was one stream, right, kind of before Christmas, 4 years, I don't know. And the guys on the stream mentioned, and when we have this newsletter, please subscribe to the newsletter. And I just did it like on the phone. And then the week later is everybody who's on the newsletter list gets an invite to the closed beta. Yeah. So we're in it from like the very, very first early days. Yeah.
You timed that perfectly.
Yeah, but it was totally by mistake. It was just like, who subscribes to newsletters? What else? If Media Molecule asked, I would do it. But yeah.
Well, that was very accidental, and I used to think, I wonder whether the pig detective idea was an accident, and you were just making, messing around in dreams, and then there's pig detective. But yeah, it sounds.
We talked about this for years.
You had the idea for pig detective way before dreams even existed. So I mean, where did that come from in your brain?
Okay, my favorite animal is a pig. That's okay. A big reveal. Yeah, you know about it.
Spoiler.
I like pigs. I think pigs are cute. Pigs are very intelligent. I have no idea where the specific idea comes from. I'm a big fan of like old schooly types of adventure games, and I guess somewhere from this corner of my mind plus pigs. That's all I can really say about it.
If I had anything to say about it, it would be Penguin Detective.
Yeah. Yeah, Pig Detective is more my brainchild than yours. Not in the actual execution, because it's way more your project than it is mine now.
10 years of marriage.
But no, you're putting in all the big ideas for Pig Detective. My idea was this stupid main character.
It's so funny that it's...
Pants.
Very important that the pig detective doesn't wear pants, apparently. I've never made the connection between pigs being really intelligent and detective work. Like, I'm like, you know what? If the pig could have a vocation, maybe detective makes sense.
Maybe, Yeah. Not sure if George is the most intelligent guy. I guess he's intelligent. He's intelligent, but he's not the best detective, I would say.
Which is why it is a game. If he was a good detective, he wouldn't have a game. He'd just walk in, solve the case, game.
Yeah, I'd say he's emotionally intelligent, perhaps, No,
I think he's more intelligent than emotionally intelligent.
Oh, no. Oh,
you want to heighten your expectations.
Yeah, he has dark emotional problems. But
he's a good guy at heart, but he fumbles a lot.
So lovable. I find him so lovable. So, I mean, you made an early version of Pig Detective, It's really... Was that one of the first things you made in Dreams? Was it the first thing you made, and then you just stuck with it forever, or like...
Really, it was one thing I made before, just to fumble around with the mechanics. It was like a jumping game where you jump from poorly animated island to poorly animated island. It was just one scene, and the very next thing was already the Pig Detective. The first Pig Detective scene. And it was just... Okay, when I started the beta, I didn't have access to the Dreamyverse. It was probably some technical issue with the PlayStation ID or something. So I couldn't grab things people had made. But just for the first 2 weeks or something. Then I think I had to... I wrote to Media Molecule, and they fixed it on their side because it was my PlayStation ID wasn't the same in the newsletter. I just subscribed to blah blah blah. Okay, so I had to make anything from scratch, and I still can't make characters, and I couldn't even do anything in Dreams back then. So I stamped in the standard puppet and spray painted it pink and put in on a socket nose and 2 googly eyes and a very badly sculpted gray fedora. And it was just to get this grasp on how to make a dialogue system back then. And I put it in. I made a equally poorly made duck and put it in, and made them to interact with a badly written script. And I said, okay, that's it. It's already enough. It's already funny. It was never intended to be like a final version or anything. But I came to you and said, look at this.
Yeah.
You can talk to the duck. And Lotte said, yeah, that's great, but the dialogue is poorly written and bad. And you rewrote everything, and that's how it started. But it wasn't intended as a final version at the beginning, and then we stuck with that. Yeah, now we are still stuck with Pick Detective. It was when it came to facial features.
It's so funny you talking about, you know, the kind of proto Pig Detective and it, you know, it's just kind of thrown together because, you know, for people who maybe don't know about Pig Detective yet, it's funny that, you know, it's really become almost a standard bearer for kind of high quality and polish in Dreams. You've made several games since then, and it's like start from this like proto thing that was just kind of slapped together, and now it's like beautiful.
There's some lessons to be learned for people who would like to do things in Dreams, who would like to start or have a big idea. Don't don't be hampered by your big idea. Like, identify what's the core of it and stick with it, at least for the beginning. You can still get bigger after that. But don't have like this idea from, okay, I have this really big game in mind, and all of this has to be in the game and perfect and polished from the beginning. No, do something you like and find funny or find good for yourself, and then develop from there. And don't be shy to maybe release things that are really that aren't really polished from the beginning, because if there's something there, some core people will identify it as something worth playing and will like it.
Yeah, and what were those kind of early reactions to Pig Detective like? What was it like seeing people kind of interact with it and comment on it or give feedback? What was that like?
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the first big thing was Media Molecule playing it on stream.
Yeah. Yeah, we never expected to see it being played by anyone at all. And then suddenly you have these people who play it and who voice act it. We didn't have voice acting. We just had garbled lines and voices in the background going, and suddenly somebody read the dialogue, and it was like, wow, this is what we have to do next. We have to get people who read the dialogue, because the characters gain so much from that. And some of our actors are still the same as they were on the stream. I couldn't get Ed out of my head when I heard him read Pig Detective. Yeah. Because it was like, I don't know, he was coming in with a coffee or something from the kitchen, and they were like, what do we play? And he said, can we play Pig Detective?
No, he did not. He said, can we play this one? No, we already played this one. Okay, can we play Pig Detective? Yeah, we can play
Don't destroy my nice version of this. But then he said, can I be the aforementioned Pig Detective? Yeah. And from then on, I just couldn't get that voice out of my head. It was just him. Or Keanu Reeves, but I mean, if Ed wants to step back, we can still get Keanu Reeves. I mean.
But for now, Ed is stuck with the role forever. If you only would have known back then.
If you had known.
I mean, it's funny, you know, I was going to say maybe we're joking about the celebrity voice acting, but I mean, as the series has kind of gone on and on, you've really got some big names to come in and voice some of the Pig Detective characters. I mean, Troy Baker, right? Yeah. You ended up working with Troy Baker to voice some characters.
You call that a big name?
Oh my gosh, Troy, we're so sorry. I mean,
that was amazing.
How was that? How did that come about? I think that's such a huge thing.
That wasn't actually our fault, I think.
Nope.
I think it was Abby being in America for Dreams promo thing and talking to Greg Miller. And they were just like joking around, like, wouldn't it be great if we could get big voice actors for Dreams projects? Like,
and Abby knew Greg Miller knows Troy Baker, something like this. Yeah.
And then Abby said, I know Team Pig Detective, so maybe we can hook them up. And then they texted me and said, send me a line for Troy Baker. And I was like, well, this is 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
and I sent them a line.
No, you sent them 2 lines.
Oh,
I was greedy. The amount of Troy Baker lines.
I was so greedy.
Abby said, send me 1 line, and you, here, 2 lines.
And then famously, we built a whole character around these 2 lines.
Oh, yeah.
because we had Troy Baker starring in Pick Detective, so we just had to make something of it.
I was going to say, that was something I almost wanted to ask you about. It's like, the voice acting and the characters of Pig Detective are such a huge part of the charm of those games that you're making. And yeah, obviously sometimes it seems like maybe you start with a character, but I guess there are some instances in which you kind of find a voice actor and then you may make changes to the character themselves. Is it always one way or the other way?
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Every character starts the same, very basic and unimportant. And then I choose people and send them lines, and then they read them. And then based on that, the whole character develops. And we have Greg Miller in Pick Detective.
Everybody's always talking about Troy Baker. But Troy Baker delivered 2 lines, which was awesome and was nice to put on the poster. But Greg Miller is he voices a main character in the next game. Yeah. And this is lines over lines over lines, and I feel really bad. It's all non-profit for us, and it's obviously but it's just a fun project for us, and we're asking, man, here's a script, bam. Can you please read all of this? But he did it, and it was awesome. It's amazing. So yeah.
He's a real professional. What do you think it is about Pig Detective that appeals to Greg? Maybe we should ask Greg this, but why do you think he can't get enough of working with you guys?
And we're kind of nice.
Yeah.
Everybody, this is actually true because we do it in our spare time and nobody pays us. So we do it for fun. So everybody we get involved with is people who have the same kind of fun as us and with us. And if they don't, it never works. So you can, but it always works. So this is what you said about the community. You can put them all in a sack and hit it, and you hit a nice person. And I think this is actually why, because we're just having a laugh and enjoying ourselves, and people want to do that.
Yeah, and I think Greg probably likes the writing.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. His delivery is funny. I don't think he has the time to play the games in the full length, but he supported us
only
wherever.
6 hours.
Yeah, he supports us wherever he can, and we did a bit for Kind of Funny last year. So it's like a Geben und Nehmen in German.
Also, a story I really like is Benzai.
Oh yeah, Benzai. Yeah.
Benzai, who's French, which is why most people don't watch him as much, which is a big shame.
But he's a big French streamer. Yeah.
And he's a French streamer.
And we both watched his content from 10 years ago when he was still part of a bigger website and he was making content in English. And now he's a big French streamer. And he played Pick Detective 3 on stream. Mm-hmm. And we saw that and was great. And was he reaching out to us, or where?
I have no idea how that one started, but you have to imagine 10 years ago, as a little me, I was a big Benzai fan. And then you watch him play this game and he says, okay, this is the biggest point-and-click game, maybe save that one with James Woods.
Yeah. It was not James Woods, but yeah. And he's a really big fan, which is like...
And I thought, so why not? Would you voice act for us? And he was, of course!
It's so cool how your art has kind of connected you with people that you just sort of grew up, looking up to and stuff like that. You've got
looking up is a bit much. I mean, it's a guy with a hand puppet that's a bear. So it was more like, okay, this guy's mad, but looking up, sure, of course.
It's nice to have a project to kind of collaborate with people around, and I think we should probably talk a bit about the Dreams community. But before we do, I kind of also wanted to ask a little bit more on the kind of people and team side. You obviously, you've mentioned some of your collaborators from all across the world, so Ben and Andy, all sorts of people. What kinds of creators do you like to work with personally, and why? What kind of artists are you drawn to when it comes to making things in Dreams together?
I like funny. Und was heißt denn anständig?
Decent.
Yeah, I like decent.
I mean, there was a pattern. Reddish Boat Sean made a Pick Detective fan song and we got in touch with him. Ben made like a Pick Detective fan art for his football game.
That's true. We wouldn't approach people if we didn't know they kind of like us already. So we can't really lose.
Like the first impression was some fan art stuff, but it has like the vibes have to be there. Like we need to connect on a personal level. So yeah,
that's one of the nice things about Dreams. You are people's fan, and they are your fan. So it's a weird kind of thing, because otherwise you're just friends, and this way you respect each other for your artistic thing, because it's a thing. Everybody has their own thing. Sean is a gifted musician, and Jovor is a gifted animator if you can get him, but he's like 20 and in school.
Yeah, that rings true. I think honestly, it goes beyond Dreams as well. I think, when you really collaborate with people, you kind of have to be fans of each other in a way, because you're like, I think what you do is really cool, and I'd like to see kind of how that meshes with how I like to see things. So yeah, I think maybe it's not just Dreams exclusive, but there's definitely a lot of that kind of sentiment in the community, which is really nice, I think. Everyone's like pretty genuine. What's it like then to be part of the Dreams community? I mean, we all know because we're all part of it, but for people watching who kind of are like, what is this? What's this bunch of weird people who make weird art? Like, how would you kind of describe what it's like to be part of this community? Maybe, in comparison to other game communities.
It's inspiring, especially compared with other with other games communities, because you don't play a game exclusively, you make a game. Everybody's an artist, so... My
first thought was it's not toxic. So, I mean, other
games... That's nice too.
I'm not involved in other game communities because they're usually pretty bad. And that's not the case with Dreams. And people are really supportive, like when we see someone and we like the stuff, like Dorian, and we ask him, hey, we like your stuff, can you make a mini game for us or something? And people are always up for it. So it's not toxic, very friendly, very supportive, and very inspiring, as you said.
Yeah, and do you think that that's kind of affected the way that you make art, or the kind of the product of what you're making in any way? How
Otherwise,
so?
I mean, we started just the two of us, and if the community would have been not as it is, it would still be the two of us just making games for the void and not interacting with the Creator Dreams community. But as it is, like, it's my main Twitter timeline, and we won a huge handful of friends over the last 4 years.
So nice. I mean, what's kind of like the part of your Dreams journey that you've enjoyed the most? If you could kind of start narrowing it down, I don't know. It's a big question, but is there anything you particularly look back at as you're like, wow, that's been an amazing part of the journey, or I'm really proud of this? Are there any particular moments where you were like, this was huge for us as players of Dreams?
Just one.
Yeah, just one. That's mean.
Because it's not like that. It's not like that. It's not like it is. Sometimes it feels like that, because what you naturally would think is you work on the game and work on the game and work on the game, and then there's the big day and the game is finished and you release it, and that should be the big moment. But it's really not. The big moments are the moments when you get into the flow and you work and you text people at 3 a.m. in the morning and talk to them about things and get inspired even more. And that happens all the time. So actually, sometimes it's a bit anticlimactic to actually release something, because then you have to think, oh no, now it is over. But then you get people playing it and you get feedback and you get to enjoy that. You get to see other people play your stuff, and that's nice too. So it's
Then for me, it's different. For me, it's the release. Like, if you ask for one moment, it's like the Pick Detective 3 was like our biggest project to Buffington, but Buffington is not released yet. So, and when it was released, and like Granny was playing it.
That was nice.
Granny has a huge audience on Twitch, and we watched it live till it was way too late. I think Granny was in New Zealand or
6
something.
o'clock in the morning or something.
And we watched like the 6 hours in the middle of the night, and the game did not break, which is like, I'm feeling the burn always on my shoulder when the game is released. Like everything worked perfectly all the way through, and the audience reaction and her reaction for the story beats and the character beats and what's funny, what's dramatic, and it all was the perfect flow. So that's my number one Dreams moment. Anyway, it's a bit outside of Dreams because it was after the release. Was just we are watching a stream of it, but that was my favorite moment. Yeah.
Those are two pretty fantastic answers. So,
but I totally get it. I
get you as well because I enjoyed that stream.
Yeah.
And we have my favorite player is Sean Vertigo, who always plays our games when they are released. That's my favorite thing to watch because they don't have a big audience. I think we're only about 10 people also in the first initial thing. I mean, afterwards people watch it, but not live. And he's such a good player. And he's the perfect audience, and you can see that everything you did right because he sees it and he enjoys it and he says, oh, it's this and that, and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Shout out Sean Vertigo. We love you. We love the players of Dreams.
I love you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah,
I mean, that's.
Did you talk bad things about me?
Yeah.
No,
oh yeah.
Say about Sean Vertigo.
Yeah.
We were whispering. We were shouting out to Sean for being fantastic. It's so nice. There's so many good players in Dreams. Like, I mean, we love the creators. We give the creators your spotlight, but like I also love the people who are in there playing, soaking it all up, appreciating it, and yeah, that's got to feel good when you've put so much into something you're making, and you see someone like really enjoying it and making the most out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess to kind of wrap it all up, something I've been asking people is, we might have some new people kind of watching these videos for the Impys and thinking, what's this Dreams thing all about, and what's all about? And I think you've done a pretty good job of giving them an idea, but I wondered if you kind of had a final message for people who maybe are a bit interested in Dreams but aren't really sure what it's all about, or aren't really sure how to get in it and kind of join in with the community. Do you have anything to say to those people that might kind of encourage them to dip in a toe?
For me, it's a perfect creative outlet. I had like creative hobbies before, but they got all replaced by Dreams because it's so easy to access. I'm already on the couch, the PlayStation is turned up, and I'm feeling the creative urge. And I think most people have like this urge to, maybe I want to create something. And Dreams makes it really easy to create something, and music or like sculpting something. It doesn't have to be a game. So, and the, what's Hemmschwelle in English? The barrier you have to hop over to get into it is so low. So why not just do it, and you will get something out of it. Like on the one hand, like to get that creative urge out, like to create something, or just jump on it and check out what's on the daily surf, some fun games, something like on not inside the big game development industry, something maybe some creative mind came up which would never be like released as a AAA game, just fun things to play for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and it's already worth the purchase. So yeah.
And community-wise, you have to imagine it like starting university with the subject that you always wanted to study, and you walk in and there's hundreds of people who do the same thing, and you have to find your friends in there, but they are in there. You just have to find them, and everybody's doing basically the same thing, just in different forms, and that's what it really is like, to me at least.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a great analogy. Come enroll in Dreams University.
Oh,
Ooh,
Dreams University.
we're all each other's teachers, you know. I'm definitely
It is true.
mostly learning. I'm definitely mostly learning and watching, and maybe the one sitting at the back of the lecture hall, just kind of a little bit lost while you do your thing. But I'm loving it. I'm watching it all. I'm playing it all.
And silently talking all the strings in the background, but
The
pretending
puppet
to.
I'm always watching. Let it be known, Dreams. Nothing escapes my
You're
notice.
cutting this, aren't you?
All your fun little mini games. I'm in there. Oh, well, so nice to chat to you about all this and get a little bit more insight into the early days of Pig Detective. I'm feeling all nostalgic now. I've got to go back and play like the first game. So I'm feeling nostalgic. It's so great to talk to you. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm sure we'll talk again very, very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Always happy to jump on a call with you, MM people.
No.
Yeah.
It's a delight. All right. Bye.
Well, thanks, Jen, for hosting those wonderful talks. A real eye-opener to 3 unique views on Dreams creation from some truly talented Dreams community members. See you soon for more from the 4th Annual Impys here at the Nomi Nations. Brought to you by Nomcom, your friendly Keldstone mining company.